I'm Max Keiser. This is the Keiser Report. Yes, we're doing this show here at a billionaire's bunker at an undisclosed location somewhere in America, getting ready for the Trumpocalypse. It's a very realistic simulation, as you can tell. The water rippling over there is, well, I didn't quite make it into the...
Max, you throw like a girl. Here's how you do it.
All right, yeah.
That just shows it's real. A lot of people might think this is fake. It's like green screen. I know
we're not in a billionaire's bunker?
We're not in a billion. Well, there are underground bunkers going on. There's survivalists. There are luxury survivalist things happening over in Texas.
Oh, that's right. This is actually Jordan Lake in North Carolina, which is one of those swing states, one of those key swing states that were talked about before the election that thought it was going to go toward Hillary, but went to Trump.
Well, this is important to note because the mainstream media said the truth was that Hillary had a 99% chance of winning. The mainstream media said the truth was that Hillary was going to win North Carolina. They also said the truth was that she would win Wisconsin, Michigan, and easily Pennsylvania. And they said, in fact, that it was an insult to even suggest that Hillary would not win Pennsylvania. So I wanted to point out this headline today as the mainstream media and the Beltway who failed to warn the Americans of the reality in which they faced a Trump presidency. Now they're trying to basically prevent anybody from accessing the people of America. American alt-right members have Twitter accounts suspended. So they're blaming the alt-right media, and they're saying that they basically circulate fake news, and the fake news circulated on Twitter and Facebook caused Trump to win.
Well, in any propaganda war, truth is the first casualty. And this is a propaganda war propagated by the entrenched oligopoly. This is a true Marie Antoinette moment, I must say, in America, because you've got the masses revolting, as John Locke said back, what was it, 1790 or something like that, when the social contract is broken. The people must revolt. And we've seen this now as part of the global insurrection against banker occupation. The Arab Spring, Black Lives Matter, the Brexit, the Trump vote. These are the masses of folks around the world who don't like living in a post-truth world. Remember, it used to be truthiness, according to Colbert. You know, truthiness was a big word a few years ago. We're past truthiness. We're post-truth, according to one of the big dictionary publishers who made that the word of the year, post-truth.
Well, in fact, you mentioned the masses are revolting, which is exactly what Hillary Clinton said. She called them a basket of deplorables. She said they were, the masses are revolting not in an active way, that they are just like disgusting. And I want to turn to a tweet. This is from Ben Norton of Salon.com. And here, again, the mainstream media is mostly the Beltway media, the sort of Hill bots, you might want to call them, that the alt-right might call them, for sure, is that they are saying the reason why Trump won, anybody who went out and voted for Trump, that they are a basket of deplorables who are racist and sexist. And yet, here are some data that might actually suggest there's something deeper going on. And this is what your party looks like on neoliberalism. Remember, under Reagan, we had this is what your brain looks like on drugs.
Oh, yeah, the fried egg.
The fried egg.
I put down the drugs that day. Nancy Reagan is right. Just say no.
Just say no. So here, it's just say no to neoliberalism, because this is a chart that looks like that fried egg, your brain's on drugs. Here's your economy on neoliberalism, and certainly your party, because the Democrats have been pushing neoliberalism, NAFTA, trade deals, suspension of Glass-Steagall, all that sort of stuff harder and faster than the Republican Party. And what it shows is you see a whole bunch of lines going down, down, down. Well, the top one, the blue line, is the Senate. They've lost 10.2% of their seats. Since 2008, they've also lost 19.3% of their House seats. That's the House of Representatives. They've lost 20.3% of state legislatures, max including Kentucky, which they have held. The Democrats have held the state legislature there since 100 years ago, they lost that this time, and then governorships, they lost 35.7% of it. So the Democratic Party has been losing power. They're almost at the point, one seat away of a state legislator. One more state legislature they lose, and they lose the ability to prevent new amendments to the Constitution.
Yeah, well, I said leading up to this that, well, at least the Constitution will protect us from the Trumpocalypse. And then I read a tweet saying that they're just, narrowly escaping the majority needed to rewrite the Constitution. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, this Trump guy, it's either going to be a new Enlightenment or it's going to be a new bubonic plague. That's the choice on offer at the moment. But he's said a few things that, are positive.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's like a show we've already talked about. We've talked over and over about his positions. We're talking now about the post-election situation where the mainstream media, also social media CEOs, everybody's trying to basically change their algorithms, change the way that Americans receive their news, because Americans rejected the mainstream media. They rejected CNBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox. They rejected all the cable television. They've also rejected, of course, hugely, the Washington Post, the New York Times, any of the newspapers that you might find. And what they've been doing is getting their news from their friends, from alt media, from online sources, social media. And here is what they're trying to do. They're trying to prevent that. The other thing that they're trying to prevent is basically an acknowledgement, a self-reflection on what went wrong, how Trump won this election. And here is a news headline from the day after he won, which might give us some indication of the truth of what people voted for. Congress will abandon Trans-Pacific Partnership deal, White House concedes. Obama administration admits defeat after congressional leaders from both parties say they will not bring trade deal forward during lame duck session. So the TPP, as you know, would have included 11 nations, including in Asia and South America. We were never allowed as voters to know what the text of the trade deal was. We were told by the elite that trust us. We have your best interest at heart, you basket of deplorables. And the only way anybody even saw any indication of what was in that trade deal was via WikiLeaks, part of the alt media, one of these people that they'll want to block. Remember this notion that we have to block fake news from coming out. Remember, Hillary Clinton said all of those emails, those Podesta emails were fake. They were faked. They were rigged. They were somehow manipulated.
Well, you've got a situation in the media where the corporate agenda, as expressed by the TPP deal, is supported by the mainstream media, the corporate media. And you have now the presence of social media that's doing battle against mainstream media. And you have subliminal advertising has always been used. You have sophisticated Madison Avenue advertising that's always been used in political ads versus things like Pepe the Frog on social media doing battle with the mainstream. And you have the introduction, I'm going to coin a phrase here, acid memes.
Acid memes.
Acid memes.
ACID, acid, not asset. It's not a collateralized meme obligation.
No. Acid, like the poison. Acid memes. And we saw this coming out of folks like Alex Jones, my good friend, who he says things that people say are crazy, but they work as acid memes to wipe out the memes that surround it. There's a huge logic to it. And Trump, the first stop he made was to Alex Jones. He thanked Alex Jones after the election. Thank you for electing me, Alex Jones, because Alex Jones has perfected the art of the counter punch in this age of corporate propaganda with unlimited money. And it frickin' worked. It frickin' worked.
It worked. Well, another thing that, talking about this truth thing, so another come to Jesus moment happened to Ray Dalio, who has the biggest hedge fund in the world, and he operates out of Connecticut, which is hedge fund capital of the world. It's also a Democratic voting state. And he warned, he was part of the whole mainstream that got it wrong. In terms of trying to block fake news, his warning was fake, and now he's admitting it. He didn't know it was fake because he himself was in this bubble of this Hillary Clinton bubble where they thought their truth was the one truth, the only truth. Like in the pre-Enlightenment days, before the Gutenberg press, when you had to get your truth from the elite only. There were certain elite that were able to speak the Latin and tell you what was in the text. And now they want the same thing. You must listen to the Wall Street bankers or the hedge fund managers of Connecticut or the Beltway media or the sort of, bloggers that hang out with Podesta at dinners, at cool dinners. Well, here he's admitting, billionaire Ray Dalio, Donald Trump's craziness factor may be lower than feared. So he feared something that turned out to be not real. And as Dalio puts it, Trump's craziness factor may have been overstated on the campaign trail, and an on-message presidency may lead to an improving economic picture. There's a good chance that the craziness factor will be smaller and play a lesser role in driving outcomes than many had feared, said Dalio in a LinkedIn post. He added, "We believe that we will have a profound president-led ideological shift that is of a magnitude and in more ways than one, analogous to Ronald Reagan's shift to the right." Maybe he's going to say the alt-right.
Well, the Ray Dalio story is very interesting because he's also driven by algorithms, trading algorithms, and it's a sophisticated form of rent-seeking because not only does he trade based on algorithms, but he's also helping to design those algorithms, and people are designing algorithms based on Ray Dalio's. So there's a feedback mechanism where he's essentially pocketing money risk-free. But that Ray Dalio rent-seeking algorithmic box was overpowered. He was completely wrong, again, by the memosphere that was able to take over the meme creation in a new kind of means of productions. It reminds me of Engels, a contemporary of Karl Marx. At the end of the capitalist foray, it would be all versus all. And that's what we're seeing. If Trump's policies don't take hold in a populist manner, then the alt-right will be in an uprising mode, just like the left. They'll join forces, and we'll have a Marie Antoinette moment. And Hillary Clinton, maybe the greatest thing she ever did to save her life was to lose, because she'll be in a billionaire bunker like we're in right now. I'm not convinced this isn't a billionaire bunker somewhere in North Carolina.
And now, finally, in the last minute we have left here, Max, I want to turn to a headline regarding this discounting of the craziness factor of Trump, because Ray Dalio is saying the economy might actually get better than it was. Paul Krugman on the left and the New York Times, remember, he said it would be a disaster. Now he's come out and actually saying the economy actually may improve, but this doesn't mean that Trump is horrible and crazy. This is what he's saying. But here's a final headline, Max. Fed rate hike odds approach 100% in anticipation of Trumponomics. Analysts spent early November warning a Trump victory in the U.S. presidential election would make the Federal Reserve less likely to raise interest rates. What happened instead is that it made a December increase a near certainty. So Mark Nash of London Old Mutual, where our friend Ned Naylor Leyland works, well, he's saying it's hard not to think this incredibly reflationary for the global economy, his $1 trillion infrastructure plan.
Another rate rise or just another meme? We'll be talking about memes with Tim Pool in the second half. Don't go away.
People with stories to tell. Those who deserve to be heard. Studied inside out, but still with unrevealed secrets. Leaders, politicians, thinkers, and witnesses. They're here to speak. Are you there to hear?